Hello again, and welcome to what is going to be the last introduction type of video for the world's most reliable Lamborghini. We have already spoken about the body and the engine, and it's time to get some work started. However, a few of you have seen some B-roll clips of the chassis in other videos and asked, well, what's happening with the chassis? So this video is going to cover that and the wheels, since they are related to the chassis, as well as a quick mention of the interior. Actually, the interior is probably the easiest, so let's get that out the way first. So welcome to the interior, or rather lack of interior, because as you can see, there is no interior. Now the car did come with a basic setup, meaning it has gauges, which are up over here, some steering wheel, which is up over there somewhere, and some seats, which are over here, or one of them is at least. Now I have no idea what brand any of these are, so if you're a seat or gauge expert, feel free to let me know down below in the comments what they are. Not that it matters, because I'm not going to be putting it back on the car anyway. For the time being, we actually aren't going to be doing much on the interior at all. And I'll save it when the car is back in one piece. However, the general idea is to replicate the original car interior the best we can. So if I do find parts that I want, such as the proper gauges or steering wheel or even seat molds, I'll buy them and just stash them aside. Now also, if you have any suggestions for the color scheme to use inside the car, let me know in the comments below. Could just keep it basic with black leather or perhaps white leather. However, I've always liked the tan interior color, like the interior shade in the Cannonball Run Countach. So, put your favorite color scheme down below. Anyway, time for what we've all been waiting for, the chassis. So this car is built on a full custom chassis. It's not based on something like a Fiero or an MR2, like some other replicas. Apparently, don't quote me, this is an early Prova chassis. However, some people have mentioned it could be a rehashed Lee Noble chassis or Sienna chassis. I haven't been able to find any markings on it that point to the origin of the chassis, so I actually can't confirm who made it for sure. Now, regardless of who made it, time has taken its toll here. And since I'm not interested in drawing things out for dramatic effect, I'll just get straight to the point right now. Nearly everything you see here is not going back on the car. We did think about just sandblasting this one down and repainting it and maybe welding in a few extra supports. However, the more we looked into it, the more we found that we didn't like. So from the get-go, these front up control arms over here were placed on the wrong way around. Or at least one of them is. It's kind of mirrored, if that makes sense. There's an additional shock at the back over here. You can see this one over there. That looks like it was welded on very well. It's clearly an afterthought. Looks safe. Must be a comfortable ride also. And overall, left and right of the chassis just don't line up. Having a quick look at the top, this was the only support of the car around roof level, meaning that if it was to roll over, I would probably be part of the crash structure. A lot of the welds look a little bit dodgy, and we'll just look at it overall. After all, this is about 30 years old at a guess, and why go through all the effort of putting that lovely V12 inside the car, knowing that this old chassis is underneath? So we figured instead of trying to fix someone else's work, we'll just keep this as a reference. You can actually see the yellow spray paint here. We have used as reference points and make an entire new one. I mean, if you look at this chassis compared to some of the others out there, you'll see that this one is maybe half as good as it could be at a stretch. It essentially just needs to be updated for the 21st century. So how do we plan to do this? We can weld, and we do have welding equipment. It was used to create that lovely frame you see the body shell sitting on. Therefore, it's going to be done in-house. But to make sure we get it 100% right, we have enlisted the help of someone extra who builds chassis for race cars for a living. Obviously, a chassis is quite an important part of the car, so we need to make sure that it's perfect. The brakes and suspension are also going to get replaced. I think this is Jag suspension, not that it matters. A few replicas I've seen nowadays are using BMW bits from the E39 series or E46 series. It seems to be a common solution on replicas now, so I actually just need to do a little bit more research there. The only parts we're going to be keeping from the old chassis are actually these drop floor pans over here. Because I'm tall, I'm 6'1", I could use extra space in the car that these will give. And then after the new one is made, I'm not sure what we'll do with this tyre or chassis. We'll probably just sell it for scrap. Now these wheels and tyres on the chassis are just temporary for moving it around. We do have the correct size rims for the car, and here one of them is. I've already spent some time and given them all a good refurb, and they look way better compared to when we got the car. They are also 3-piece wheels, so it made it quite a bit easier to actually do the refurbishment. However, those of you who know these cars will spot one small problem with these wheels, which is they're meant to be on a 25th anniversary style Countach. The regular Countach has a very different set of rims on it. I believe some people refer to them as phone dial rims, if I'm correct. But for the time being, we're going to keep these rims, and maybe somewhere down the line, we'll sell them and put the money towards a set of correct reproduction rims. Also, in case you're curious, these wheels are made by Compomotive. You can see the branding right over there, and still seems to fetch a fairly decent price on the second-hand market. So these rims did come with tyres on them, which were Pirellis, which are correct, and they measured 195/50/15 on the front, and it was 345/35/15 on the rear, I think. However, they were also 22 years old and didn't hold air and were badly dry rotted, so they went in the bin when I redid the wheels. So fortunately, Pirelli still make tyres for this car at a price, so we'll be able to fit the correct size rubber when it's time to get the car moving. And also I think the front was meant to be 205 or 225, not 195. So where do we go from here? Well, there's a lot to look forward to, I guess. For one, obviously, you'll get to see an entirely new chassis get made. I can also point out that the engine and transaxle that used to live up over there are not here anymore, since they're off getting adapter plate machined, since obviously the Toyota engine doesn't fit the Audi transaxle. I'm not sure when that will be done, but when it's back, I'll make a video showing the assembly of the engine to the transaxle with the clutch and the flywheel, etc. Additionally, there are some cosmetic parts on the way for the body, so there'll be something extra to talk about when they arrive, so plenty to look forward to. And just thanks for watching, and thanks for the comments and likes and shares, and hopefully I'll see you again soon.